open the pillow and put a feather on every doorstep in the entire neighborhood, and then come back here and talk to me. And then the guy did that. He bought a pillow and put a feather on every doorstep. And then when he went back to the church, and he had the empty sack to prove that he had done it, the preacher said, "Okay, now go pick up all those feathers." And the idea is that the wind is blown. The things you put in the universe, they're already out there. You're never going to be able to get them back.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be careful on how you speak. When it comes to how you approach people.
What up, Abby?
Yo, what's up?
I thought you don't come to my rooms. What are you doing here? I thought you don't like me.
I like it.
Oh, you do like me now?
I always do.
But then why do you kick me from your rooms all the time?
I only during short times, I cannot. I just enjoying you in short sprints.
So this is a Toira study. I've got a new Toira book. I don't need to read it to you, but we can discuss the chapters, and there's a lot in there that's interesting. But I went to a garage sale today with my mom and my sister, and they were just unloading everything in the house for free or for $1. I wish I had the opportunity to buy more stuff, but I got some good books. So how was everybody's weekend?
Dude, when my mom died 2 years ago, remember that when you brought me to Clubhouse?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I had to leave her house. Her lawyer was kicking me out of the house. He said I wasn't even allowed to be there, even though she had brought me there in order to be with her at the end of the day. I was literally the one that picked her up off the ground and put her on the gurney to go to the hospital. And then he's like, "You're not allowed to be there." I'm like, "How the fuck am I not allowed to be at my mom's house?"
That's weird.
But when I left, dude, all I wanted, dude, I took every fucking photo album I could find. Photos, they don't make them anymore. I didn't need her riches or any of her highfalutin bullshit. Dude, that lawyer fucked my mom's whole estate.
Yeah, I saw my grandmother. She turned 98 today.
No shit, for real?
Yeah.
Bueno.
She's like, well, I fell down the stairs a couple months ago. It nearly killed me, but they moved me over here.
Help, I'm falling and I can't get up. She got one of them little clickers on her chest?
No, she lives at an assisted living facility. She spends $10,000 a month.
Oh.
$10,000 a month to live there. It's like a studio apartment for $10,000 a month.
That's ridiculous.
What happened is none of the daughters.
Dude, she could buy a $100,000 house in a decent side of the neighborhood, and she could hire me for $30,000 a year. And I would cook her food and help her in the shower and help her bathe herself, because I don't you don't ever want to have to do it for them. You want them to do it for themselves.
She had one
man or woman, dude. I worked in a non-ambulatory dementia ward for a nursing facility. Where people forget, let alone what a bathroom is. They can't even get out of bed, and then you've got to change their briefs and rotate them every 2 hours and make sure that they're always dusted down, dry, because you don't want them to get pressure sores, and dude, and if you don't write it down, it didn't happen. it's just like it's mad crazy for me to take care of 4 patients
Mm-hmm.
in one day.
It's real work.
But I mean, you know, yeah, for real. I mean, and you gotta deal with shit, you know, because life is full of shit.
Yeah, yeah, you do have to deal with a lot of shit.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is the International Bank of
Celibacy.
whatever the fuck?
It's a rabbi's house. He just, he comes up with funny names. He's a comedian.
Yeah, well, I mean, why won't it let me join?
I don't know. I don't even know how to create a club anymore.
I don't know how to do any of that shit either. Dude, I don't think I've ever had a room that I started my own.
Really? I thought
the 2 years I've been on here.
I thought I'd been to one of your rooms before. I was surprised. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I mean, it was a room that somebody else started that I might have been the one that was still in there.
Oh.
That yes happens. But me actually, I've never actually really created. I've probably created like 5 rooms in my whole life, and most of them are me like just listening to music.
Well, this weekend I read a really good book. It's about Aleister Crowley and Thelema and the psychology in it, and there's so much Christianity in it, but a lot of this, like if you get baptized, it's basically like a quick, easy way to do what they say, to get the Holy Spirit. So it's, Thelema makes it much more complicated as opposed to just like going under the waters and somebody baptizing you and receiving the Holy Spirit. Like that's a simple way to do a very complicated psychological ritual, which is resurrection.
I'm sorry, my dogs.
Yeah, no worries. How's all those puppers doing?
Oh, they're driving me nuts. They're all underfoot. They're all underfoot, and it drives me nuts when they're underfoot.
Do you have like a cages to like house them?
Oh, I do, but I'm not a cage trainer. I mean I let them roam free. I've got like half an acre in the front yard that's fenced in. They can go wherever the fuck they want.
Have you found any buyers yet? I mean, have you started advertising online?
No. They're only 6 weeks.
Yeah, but like you got to find people now and line them up for when they're ready.
Oh, dude.
You don't want to have them mature. You need to get rid of them when they're puppies.
Yeah, at 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I've got 2 more weeks, man. Do you know how quick and easy it is to get rid of bulldogs in Georgia?
Oh.
Why do you think they call it Georgia Bulldogs?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. But I mean, I just know a girl who waited too long.
All I gotta do, I guarantee you, I can go up there and within 1 hour at the gas station, all the pups will be gone.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Within 1 hour.
Without a
Within 1
doubt.
hour.
Without a doubt, I guess. Yeah. But you want to find, if you want to vet people, you could do that too.
I know all these people. Like I said, there's only 1,000 people. There's less than 1,000 people in my city. I know most of these motherfuckers. I mean, I know who I'm not going to give a dog to and who I am going to give a dog to. I mean, Mr. Jones that owns like 2,000 acres of the farmland. Yeah, if he wants one of my pups, he's definitely getting one of my pups. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hey, what do you think of this book I got in my PTR?
What is it, Marcus?
No, you know who M. Swain is?
Prison King.
Yeah, you know who M. Swain is here on Clubhouse?
No, what's he?
Like
Who is he?
He's always with Real One and M. Swain is the guy, M. Swain. But I bought his book, and he spent a bunch of time when he was in prison. These are his memoirs from prison, and I've read like the first, like the preamble,
Mm-hmm.
and dude, he's got a way with words.
Mm-hmm. Anything good in there?
Here, hold on. Let me get my glasses. There they are. I'll read the first opening preamble. Dude, he literally has a way with words. The prologue. In 2021, Cato had less than a year to serve on his 21-year sentence that he was doing in Kentucky prison system. Cato lies in his bunks and with an earpiece in his ear. Chambril was still asleep, but because he could hear her breathing, while he knew time was between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning.
What up, pussy?
Hello? Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, it will be.
The future's not ours to see.
Yeah, I mean, dude. Yeah, but it's actually a very interesting book. I have yet to delve into it. I'll hit you back, and I might actually have a room where I'll read, like, highlighted portions that I like. But actually, it's a very, very interesting, introspection into, a thugadelic head. And he's a self-proclaimed thugadelic, 21 years in prison system kind of guy.
Yeah, I've never been to prison, but I've been in the Army, and I would say that that's, basically like a low-grade prison facility.
I'm an American. I feel the same way.
I mean, it is a job. I think the way, I viewed the military when I got into it and when I got out was, I think if you can get in and then get out and go back to the real world and then appreciate it for what it is, then you can go back with like a different perspective. But I didn't really have anybody when I got out that was close to me that was like a positive, persuasive leader. It was all just like horrible negativity. And I think that's kind of what drove me out was the hypocrisy, the affirmative action, the incompetency, and the anger, and the lack of regard for your soldiers. Like, basically it was a black woman that I got so disgusted with. I said, you know what? Fuck this fucking army. Fuck this bitch. I ain't gonna go fight with her. She gonna fucking get me killed. And that ain't gonna happen. The number one rule to winning a war is to survive. So I got the fuck out of there. And I had no regrets. But then I kind of started having regrets. But I'm past all that now. But, because basically you are like a sum composite of like all the other psychologies, the personalities that, you are intermingled with. They impact you and shape you and vice versa. But anyways, I don't have any regrets. I'm just randomly talking off the top of my head at this point.
I have regrets, man. Like, I regret the fact that I let my mom talk me of getting out of the military. Because when I ended up in Fort Stewart in Georgia, over in Hinesville, like, I had been shape, and I could still run like 2 miles in less than 12 minutes. At 34 years old, it wasn't a problem. But my mom, I was trying to think about re-enlisting, and they offered me to be able to go with my old unit to Egypt, and I would have been able to go back to 2nd Cav. And my mom guilted me into getting out of the military and trying to become a teacher. And when I went to be a teacher, I was around all these kids, and all I wanted to do was like fucking throw them around. Like, I mean, I just want to slap them off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I regret leaving the military, because I was not meant to be a teacher.
Yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't know that until you tried to do it. So that's the thing about life, is like you've got to, just you got to keep going, endure until the end. Just do what you figured it out. That's not the thing. Is the children's psychology? You have to be. It's basically like running a war of the mind in a classroom. Teachers are up against all kinds of subversive trolls who know how to waste time, pull at your emotional heartstrings, and essentially distract you from your objective.
Yeah, and they're cool as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, because they're innocent, they're smart, they're fresh, they're fun, and they basically don't have malice in them, really in them at that point. Some might, but it's very rare to meet a very malevolent child. But there are very satanic, demonic, evil, wicked children out there, because their parents haven't programmed them with any kind of wisdom.
It's not even that, man. You can't even go there. What it is like, my brother Robbie, he raped me when I was fucking 5. He was 10. And I can still smell the sheets, and I can tell you exactly the texture of the fucking, the cloth of the comforter on my bed where he threw me down. Like, my brother Robbie's been in jail since I was 12. He's still there now. He still has 96 more years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's 5 years older than me, so if I'm 48, then he's 53. He's 53, and he's got 96 years left on his motherfucking thing. That motherfucker, like, some people don't need to see the daylight of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary to think about that, in the sense that there's so many people who have committed so many horrible crimes that are just sitting in prison facilities going about their daily routine.
Dude, when my mom died, you know how I don't get my inheritance until the dog dies?
Mm-hmm.
That whole story I
Mm-hmm.
told you, right? My mom gave Robbie $15,000 a year until he dies, and he gets it now in prison.
So he gets it in his.
He gets like $1,100 on every bit of commissary and everything he can do for. It's like the maximum of what they allow in Georgia for commissary,
Mm-hmm.
and like on your books, and like he gets that now, and I don't get none of my mom's money until the dog dies.
How much longer do you think the dog has to live?
I don't give a shit. Dude, my life is paid for. I don't give a fuck. I don't need my mom's money.
No, I mean, the thing is, every time you spend a dollar of that or you look at it, it's like, oh my God, thank you, Mom. Like, it's like pennies from heaven. I mean, my uncle left me some money, and like, without that money, I mean, I would have had a lot more difficulties. He really hooked it up, and so like for that, I'm like forever eternally grateful till the day I die. Like I'm always thinking about
You'll
him.
remember him in heaven. You'll remember him in heaven and be like, hey, I appreciate you hooking the homeboy up.
Yeah, heaven is now though.
Yeah.
Everything is now.
For true. Can you take it with you?
The money?
Any of it?
No, all you can do is pass it down.
Yeah, exactly. she was, because she knew that I had more money than at my age. When she was my age, when I retired at 44, I had more money than she did at 44. You know, she knew I was Gucci. You know, I think it was just like her way of like, you know, pissing on my Cheerios to tell me it was milk for one last time.
Well, she probably thought that if she gave it to you, it would destroy you. I'm surprised she even didn't like make it a monthly fixed amount out of the total.
Well, she knows the way I got my. That's some good money. No, she knows the way I've got it set up. Just that I've got my dividends from my Fidelity account that pays me through, like, you know, all my Coca-Colas and my Costco's and, you know, any of my, you know, accounts that pay dividends. I make it where I get like around like $23,000 a year. But if I exceed like any more than that, I'll have to pay capital gains on it. And I don't want to pay capital gains. And so I stay under the radar as far as that, but because my house is paid for and everything I own is paid for, it like I still save. Like my overhead like $6,800 a year minus food. Food maybe another $2,600 a year.
Well,
So
anyways, the money is life
rent
changing, though.
7 grand.
The money is life changing.
Yeah, but I live within my means.
If you want to
My
make it
money
life
is my
changing.
money. My money is my money, and I live within my means.
No, I know, but I mean, you can expand your means once you expand your net assets.
Well, I mean, I didn't. I mean, you've seen my Charles Schwab account. I was talking about my Fidelity account that I pay myself with. I mean, I have a Roth, I have a traditional, you know, IRAs. I mean, I've got fucking blue chips, international funds.
I know. I it doesn't. None of that matters to me. I mean, it's just. I'm just saying that, like, you know, your future. You need not worry about your future, but like, you also have an exciting opportunity to use that money for, you know, exciting things, fun things. You know, your personal development, charity, whatever you're gonna, whatever, however your destiny is going to utilize those funds.
I was thinking of like sponsoring a baseball team this January
Yeah.
for minor league for like, you know,
Yeah, but
local
sponsor it
schools.
on behalf of your auto shop. You know, like tie everything in. Don't let kill two birds with one stone. Don't let any, you know, anything.
Well,
Let
I don't have an auto shop because I don't, dude. I like to cook. I don't want to be a cook in a restaurant. I like working on cars, but I don't want to be a mechanic. You know what I mean?
well, I
Like
mean,
I do what I want to do for me
yeah. You could also
and for me and
turn
my people.
you could also turn your shop into an educational. You know,
I've
not
already done that. I did that through COVID because there were people that were like homeschooling their kids, and the dads would show up, and we would teach the kids how to, like, you know, use an impact wrench to take, you know, because I got my lift in my shop, and like it's a really nice shop, and they would come over, and the kids would learn how to, like, you know, take wheels off, and you know how to change tires and what brakes were, and, like, you know, like, and they got credit for it for school because it was, like, you know, an elective.
well. All I'm saying is, you know, if you're going to sponsor a team, I mean, most of the time when you go to a business that has sponsored a team and you see the plaque of the team, like it's tied to something. It's not just tied to like an individual's donation. I know sometimes it is, but I'm just saying, like, if you tie it into something, you're networking yourself further into the, you know, pipeline for other people who are looking for opportunities. and educational opportunities, because you have
So,
your
so,
greatest asset is
let me
actually
ask,
your
let me
mind.
let me let me ask you a question. If I sponsor a baseball team and I give them like really cool like jackets and hats and like uniforms, and we call it scammovie.com, and it
No,
costs me like
no, don't bother.
$3,000.
Don't bother. That doesn't work. It doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah, but it'd be funny as fuck though.
It would be funny, but it wouldn't be an effective usage of the money.
Well, I mean, if I'm paying them anyway to sponsor the team just because I want to sponsor a team, I mean, like seriously, like gas money for picking up kids and making sure they get to the practices and the team, like seriously.
I know, but why don't you just call it, Brian's Mechanic Shop or Brian's, Automotive Educational Institute?
Because I don't want to teach people. Like I said, I don't like kids. Not like that.
Well, I mean, do whatever
All
you're
like
gonna do. I'm just coming up with thought ideas.
what? I like brainstorming. Here, you want to know what brainstorming sounds like to me right now?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, snap into a Slim Jim.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So did you find anything at the garage sale though?
I got 4 books. One on the history of American literature and authors, and then one like a picture history book of Western civilization, which looks really dope, especially in light of everything that's happening. We kind of forget how rich Western civilization is, and how complicated it is, and how it's all just kind of getting thrown out the window as if it doesn't exist, because nobody reads books anymore. We're just addicted to looking at TikTok and Instagram, dumbing ourselves down with useless bullshit. Ten.
It says infographic. The people of the United States. How can we find out facts about our country's people? One way is to study the census that our government takes every 10 years. A census gives information about the number of people in an area where they live and how they live. Below are recent facts about American people. Population. Population is the number of people living in a space. The population of the United States has grown from less than 4 million people in 1970 to 2.67 million people in 1997. That's when this text was from. All right, population 2.67 million people. Estimated population in 2000, 2.37. Estimated population in 2050, 3.81 million. Ethnic majority groups, 1997. European American, 194 million people are what they consider to be European American. African American, there was 32 million. Hispanic, 28 million. Asian American, that would be 9,300,000. And Native American, 1,900,000. And that's the end of page 10.
Okay, this is.
There was some at the bottom. Age, and a few family members' age span, an entire century from newborn to more than 100 years of age. Yep. I was just telling me further graphs. Like I said, there's a bunch of graphs on the fucking page. But I got the book for a quarter, dude.
Okay, listen to these passages. They that beheld it cried with a formidable affright, the end of things is come upon us, and it was even so. The new eon has brought fullness of light. In the minutum mundum, earth is no longer black or of mixed colors, but is pure bright green. In the name of the Lord of initiation, Amen. I fly and I alight as an hawk. Of mother of emerald are my mighty sweeping wings. I swoop down upon the black earth, and it gladdens into green at my coming. Children of earth, rejoice. Rejoice exceedingly, for your salvation is at hand. And the Lord Adonai is about it on all sides like a thunderbolt, and a pylon, and a snake, and a phallus. And in the midst thereof he is like a woman that jetteth out the milk of the stars from her paps. Yea, the milk of the stars from her paps. Crowley had this to say concerning the number 120. 120 equals 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, and is thus a synthesis of the power of the pentagram, hence its importance in the 5 equals 6 ritual. I, however, disagree. In part, it seems to me to symbolize a lesser redemption than the associated with Tifereth. Compare at least the numbers 0.12 and 210 in Liber Legis and Liber 418, and extol their superiority. For while the first is the sublime formula of the infinite surging into finity, and the latter the supreme rolling up of finity into infinity, the 120 can symbolize, at the best, a sort of intermediate condition of stability. For how can one proceed from the 2 to the 0? Glory unto the rose and the cross, for the cross is extended unto the uttermost and beyond space and time and being and knowledge and delight. Glory unto the rose, that is the minute point of its center, minute point of its center. Even as we say, glory unto the rose, that is nuit, that's the circumference of all, and the glory unto the cross, that is the heart of the rose. Okay, I'm going to smoke some weed, drink some wine. Riboino Shalola. So what are you going to do the rest of the night? I assume you're in for the night.
Dude, I'm never out for dude. Like, there was a guy, he's like, spices the condition and control of life. Like, he kept, like, speaking this mantra to himself.
Yeah.
But he was in the House of Trades.
I know which one you're talking about.
He was a Harkonnen.
I know. He was a Mentat.
Yeah, but he said this mantra to himself all the time, like, the spice cleanses, and he would kept drinking this, like,
the juice of
like,
Safu.
Yeah. What is that mantra?
He says the mantra is the juice of Safu stains the lips. The stained lips are a warning. It is by will alone.
The warnings are a way of life, or
I mean, I can play it, but like the thing is, he says, yeah, I can play it for you.
But you remind me of him a lot. Like, honestly, like your personality, I think of you as that person. And I'm not saying it in a bad way.
Actually, I'll tell you, everything I'm reading, it's very similar in the sense that like that guy is highly organized, that they're thinking computers. And actually, when you read book 4, it says that the whole purpose of the occult sciences is to create the genius effect. And if you look at Mozart, his Black Mass is actually a Freemasonic opera. It's a Freemasonic metaphor for the ceremony and the ritual. That's the song of some of Mozart's most famous piece is, and that's why people say he got murdered, because he exposed the Freemasonic secrets in that funeral mass.
Orionic, yeah. Yeah. Dude, remember I used to play violin. Like I get the gist. I mean, I can obviously, pick points and understandings of relevancy. Yeah, no, you are a Mentok.
I'm trying to be, but like I'm not a Mentat in the sense that like that was a whole different thing where, I mean, first off, it's a fucking movie. It's a concept, but like I do like that actor who plays that Mentat, and then Gurney was the good Mentat. It is by the will alone. It is by will alone that thoughts give rise to action, something like that. Ooh.
Yeah, but that was the, dude, how old was I at 85? Like 10? So I was like 10 when that movie came out. That movie was like my favorite fucking movie, dude.
Yeah,
Like I have been in love with Dune. I've probably seen that movie 1,000 times.
Michelle keeps coming to these rooms. Michelle, you're such a lurker.
Mentat Fighter DeVries. Message for Mentat Fighter DeVries. The Baron is impatient for Leto's reply.
It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of Safu that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains.
So this is essentially like a metaphor to the Kiddush cup, because on Shabbos you take a shot of red wine and then you study the law, and that's why he says.
It's become a warning. It is by will alone. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Okay, so this is all occult in the terms of so thelema is Greek for words. So I mean for will. So what he's saying, by will alone I set my mind in motion, and because the Kabbalion says we live in a universe, we live in a thought universe, and the comedy behind that is it's a thirsty hoe over there. But if we really do live in a simulation, it is most definitely a thought universe. So what he's saying is, by will alone, I set my mind in motion. So the will is like, it's your ruach or your power, but it's who you are. It's your secret self. and then the will in motion. So it's basically like you are connected to the universe. And this is why they killed Christ, or why they kill all, prophets, because they declare that mankind has, an intricate association, connection, and power derived from the universe, from the whole, cosmos, the whole blinking cosmos. Because Alan Watts, right around the time of his death, he said, FYI, I'm God reincarnated, and all of you are as well. But he didn't really come out and say that until the very end, like pretty close to his death, because people who come out and say that, they're hunted down and killed. Basically, I mean, according to the way things have gone for the past couple thousand years. So, but that's the whole secret, and that's what Freemasonry is all about. That's what Christianity is all about. It's really about understanding your immortality, your infinity, and your eternity. That you are, you, Brian, me, John, my dad, Jordan, my sister, my mom, every single person is technically the creator of all time, wrapped up in your DNA, and which composites or creates your consciousness. So that's the whole thing, is you have to.
It's such a beautiful design.
It is. I mean, the human body is really remarkable. I mean, it's like chimpanzees, but even more highly perfected, of like incredible complexity. I mean, when you look at a chimp and you compare it to a human, the levels of sophistication are incredible when you think about the fact that fucking
I'm not gonna try to like fist fight a chimpanzee, but I can use an M4 and fuck them up.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's dog was being killed by a pit bull once, and my dad was smashing this pit bull's fucking head in with his fist as hard as he could, but he could not get this pit bull to stop killing his dog. So guess what my dad did?
Shot him in the forehead.
No, he put his hand in Uranus.
It is by the juice of Safu that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of Safu that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
How powerful do you think his mind was?
Well, it's a movie, but the whole thing is that.
Well, the idea of somebody that, like you said, that organized in their brain, like how powerfully structured is their mind power in remembrance?
Everyone. So the thing is, they eliminate emotions, but the House Atreides, are very emotional. He's dead. Like they're so emotional about everything.
Well, would you rather grown up on Atreides or
Harkonnen?
Or I mean, do you want to be born on Arrakis, or do you want to be born, in the planet of House Harkonnen? Like,
I would rather be born in the Empire.
Well, I mean, that makes you a hub.
Well, see, the Empire is agnostic. They're just political, Everybody's political in that whole fucking show, in that whole movie. But have you read the Dust Jacket?
How do you recognize like the guild?
The Guild Navigators?
Yeah.
What do I recognize them as?
Like, well, you saw in the original one, the very first one, you had the like big brain looking thing in this tank that moved forward and had people talking for it. It was translating. Like, the guild is the only way that you can transverse space. And the only way they can transverse space is with spice. And the only place you get spice in the entire universe is Arrakis. And then when Paul Atreides, turned on the water, and he literally flooded out spice. There was no more spice in the universe. So there was no coming to Iraq is controlled itself.
Well,
I watched that movie too many times, bro.
well, the thing is, the movie is one thing, the book is a whole nother thing, because if you read The Dust Jacket and you read the letter that the son wrote to the buyers of the book, talking about his dad, it's really interesting. He says that his dad isolated himself, and he felt so hurt when he was a child because his dad locked himself in his office, and he felt like his dad was intentionally, trying to hurt the family. But he says, later on in life, after I read this book and it became a big movie and millions upon millions, they sold like 30 million copies, 100 million copies, whatever. And, the family made all this money. And he's researched, the books that his father used to create the movie Dune and create the book. He draws from the whole sea of sacred books and holy books to create the movie Dune. And you can see Islam and Buddhism and Christianity and Judaism and occult sciences and everything else under the sun that we've ever thought about on this planet. And he puts it all into science fiction, just like Star Wars.
Well, the thing that really kind of like played with me when I went to Iraq was like, I fought against a group called the Jaish al-Mahdi, and but in Frank Herbert's Dune, it was Paul Muad'Dib, and like, so in my head, I'm like, are they really my enemy, or that, just because, Muad'Dib, Jesus, that's literally his name. That would be in Iraq anyway. Jaish al-Mahdi, army of Jesus. I mean, but I thought it was very ironic, that I grew up, at 10 years old, loving that movie and talking about Paul Muad'Dib, and then I ended up having to fight people that were called the Jaish al-Mahdi.
I think it's also interesting that he calls the main character Paul, from the book of Acts.
Yeah, Jupiter.
Is that the association for Paul?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
And like when.
Oh wait, hold on. We got King Ish on the line. King Ish, thank you again for my end card. I don't consider it a lifetime end card from the Kingdom of Ishganda, but I did run with it for 72 hours. So how are you doing, Ish? How was your weekend, sir?
I'm good, bro. I'm not gonna lie, causing hell for Jews on the app. I really have, feel me? But I really don't mean to. It's just that these people so biased, bro. They so dishonest and insincere, at least as far as the Jews I'm encountering on the app. I really can't have a conversation with these folks without it becoming tense. I've had tense conversation with Arabs, seeing niggas, all right? But, these Israeli motherfuckers, we talking about the Jewish Israelis to be specific.
Man,
Things are different.
Man, why are you talking about doom coons like that?
Okay, hold on. I have a co-producer at Scam Movie-ish. His name is Doc. He's a Purple Heart veteran. He's a chill dude. He smokes weed, lives in Georgia. You may not like him because he technically, I wouldn't say he's like the opposite of you. But let me just say this, Ish. As an American, you're an American, right?
Yes.
I can say as an American, as the international conflicts expand, worsen, and accelerate, as a white Caucasian, Caucasoid, Ashkenazic, what am I? I'm a cashew. You know who Eric Andre is?
That name sounds super familiar.
So look him up. He's a world famous comedian. And he has the Eric Andre show where he brings people on his show and he trolls them. And they don't know that they're being manipulated and being punked on his, Johnny Carson interview show, his podcast basically. So look him up because his father is a Jew, his mother is a Catholic, and he's biracial. So he's a cashew. I'm a cashew. You're talking to the best nut. You know what I'm saying? And all I'm telling you, Ish, is that you and me and everyone on this app are our own worst enemies. You know who your number one enemy is? It ain't some Jew, it ain't some Muslim, it ain't some Christian, it ain't some Buddhist, it ain't some colonizer, it ain't some Zionist, it ain't some white man. It starts with a Y and it ends with a U. That is real psychology. And you have to recognize that and listen to yourself very carefully and know what you're saying and feel what, you got to say what you feel and feel what you say. And like, that's transparency. That's clarity. That's why I kind of like Donald Trump, because that motherfucker actually says what he feels what he says. He doesn't hold back. He just lets it out. He wants to get to the truth. So,
Well, I feel like the more I talk, the further away from it.
right. Okay, so that is true. There is a document. It's called the Xin Ming. It's an ancient Chinese document from, I think, 3000 BC, and it deals with psychology. It says that the more we think, the more we speak, the further from the truth we get. So that is the basis for all propaganda. And the Israelis are engaged in emotional war propaganda, and the Palestinians are engaged in emotional war propaganda. And basically, they kind of nullify each other on the internet, and you get an equilibrium. And that's kind of, I feel like, the way Zuckerberg is doing it. And but you should do it the same way. I mean, Ish, for your own entertainment value and your own psychological exploitation or expansion, for your own, research purposes, create a room called I've Changed My Mind. I 100% support the Israeli Jews completely. And run with that. Just go with that frame and that perspective for 1 hour and record what happens and document it and consider that an investigative journalism research. So inverse your titles. Like if you create a title, cancel that out and go the exact opposite, 100% all or nothing statements. Like I created a room called Kill All the JEWSs, and that account got deleted immediately. And then I tested out, other room titles, and that account got deleted. So there are verboten things, and censorship is real. Question authority, think for yourself. This was what I was starting out with, was that I feel more connected to African Americans than ever before in my whole life, at 40 years of age, because I've grown up in African American culture, and now I feel like African Americans.
There ain't no African Americans in fucking Chicago. What are you talking about?
I don't care how anybody identifies. What I'm telling you is highly densely melanated black people. Like if you're nice and you treat people with respect, I mean that's how you get respect. Just the whole golden thing. You treat people the way you want to be treated. Those are blacks or African Americans that I feel close to, and I feel even patriotism with, because if you understand history, you have to understand how essentially Abraham Lincoln forever made the United States of America a black, partially black country. So it's it's part of the consciousness of the United States of America, and it's undeniable. So you have to essentially let go any kind of racism or any kind of stereotypical opinions, and just embrace black culture, black music, black food, black people, black love. I mean,
while I agree with you, while I agree with you, this is still a white supremacist country. Because at the end of the day, when Abraham Lincoln thought he was, hot shit, and he wanted to quote unquote free the slaves, he caught a bullet in the fucking head for doing that shit. All right, and they carried on they same old white supremacist tactics. All right, state sanctioned attacks against black people, limiting their rights, denying them access and privilege. Ultimately, feel me? And this country, quite frankly, is a white supremacist country, and they are supporting another white supremacist regime over in Israel. And people are shocked when you call the regime in Israel, white supremacists, but I don't see how. You know what I'm saying? The Jews are essentially the niggas of Europe, okay? These are pale people that are basically white people. Because how the fuck you could have a white Christian, a white Muslim, a white Buddhist, but a white Jew is impossible. No, it's not impossible. Your people are pale as fucking snow. Nigga, y'all are white. Simple. There ain't nothing to confuse about that. And it just strikes me as very fucking hypocritical, okay, that
Ish, hold on.
Jewish people
Ish, let me interrupt your thought.
just like
Ish, let me interrupt your thought and just concur that I got off of a bus in Israel and I looked around and I was shocked. I was like, what in the fuck? Every single person looks like a clone. It was all a bunch of white guys with yarmulkes on, and I was like, every single person looks identical. I was shocked.
yo, I swear, walking through certain parts of Brooklyn, bro, and I live around, you know, some real peculiar Jews, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, walking through Brooklyn, bro, I swear to God, you're not lying, bro. They got this shit on like it's a uniform. You know what I'm saying? Black, white, they got the little laces hanging from the waist. But I'm not mad at that. Because at the end of the day, do your Jew thing. You know what I'm saying? Jew power. Feel me? But like, at the end of the day, it's a lot of hypocrisy and, you know, disrespect going on. I feel like Jews on this app, generally, they just be insulting my intelligence. The nerve of these people to leave the Holocaust, right, after getting targeted for their ethnicity, all right, and then go and create their own nation state and do what the other groups target them for what? Their ethnicity. I mean, is this not hypocritical? Is this not a provocation? It's like the Jews I be having conversations with, they never want to acknowledge that they were not on the soil. Your Torah don't even want you to have a nation state. Your Torah basically feels that you should have a nation state when the Messiah returns. All right? Well, you guys ain't necessarily following that scripture no more. But nonetheless, can we just agree that y'all was not on the land? Y'all was like the niggas of Europe. No white people wanted to be around y'all. Theodore Herzl.
Okay, Ish, hold on. I gotta interrupt you if you're gonna repeat yourself. I do have a co-producer on this show. His name is Doc. Do you know him, Ish? This is Doc. Doc, this is Ish. Doc, if you want to jump into the Preservation Nation, this is Peace Now, Meditation, Wisdom, Psyche. We are co-producing in a room called Torah Study, the Psychology of Peace. So I do want to just say that we started out this conversation-ish talking about science fiction movies, which is the movie Dune, because the author of that book took all the world's religions and made a science fiction movie out of all the world's religions. Have you seen it? Earth to Ish, have you seen it? It's called Dune. Oh, he left. Yeah, so.
Yeah, bro. I swipe whatever, but nah, I never seen that movie, bro.
Okay, so my whole objective to being on Clubhouse is to educate myself, to educate others, and you can fuck that guy Paul, who's the CEO of this app, and because this app is not about making real friends. You know, like if Doc and I can talk on here for 10 years, like he's got a real friend on here. You know, like I live in a vault. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally live in a bank vault, a nuclear bomb shelter. Do you?
I got 150,000.
Nah, bro. I live in public. I lived in public housing. What you call it? Yeah. Now I'm in like a regular apartment. You know what I'm saying? We just in New York with it.
Yeah, I live in a bomb shelter. I mean, I got 4-inch thick steel walls, concrete reinforced rebar rooms, like, so what I'm trying to tell you is it's just a state of mind. It's a philosophy. Like my brain is more dangerous than any nuclear atomic bomb, rifle, sword, gun. Psychology.
If you added your brain to my brain in between what I fucking
Yeah,
don't
Doc
know,
is
what you don't know,
Doc's legit.
oh my god, we would be fucking.
If you could create some kind of a war machine, you know? But the whole thing really is psychology. The whole thing. Wars of the mind, the whole information war. But the whole thing is, I gotta say, bro, it's really about your well-being. Like, if you come on this app and you're not here to educate others or to educate yourself, they've already, they're already winning. You've already lost. If you don't come here for personal brain and DNA enhancement, you're losing. They're winning. The whole thing, they have the manpower to drain all the intelligence resources of the world just by being automatic hypnotists and automatic complainers and automatic trolls. So this is what Doc and I started talking about when we first launched this show, this episode, and we were talking about the movie Dune. This is the quote. I'm going to play it twice so you can listen to it and we can discuss it, because this really does deal with the most ancient and root core psychological aspects of the human mind. And if you know this information, you'll realize that you are your own worst enemy, that you are actually the one causing all the problems. Like, in the sense that you're not able to, okay, so if your brain is a computer that has a 2 terabyte hard drive and you've got like what are gigahertz nowadays? I don't even know, like what, 3 gigahertz? How fast are these computers nowadays?
1.21 gigawatts.
Anyways, what I'm trying to tell you, Ish, is if you smoke weed and you drink wine and you drink coffee and you read really advanced books on psychology, you can essentially brainwash yourself and hypnotize your subconscious with essentially conscious changing information. You can expand your consciousness. This is the definition of transcendence, where you no longer have a personality, that you essentially dissolve your identity. And that's the whole secret to all of psychology and basically all research of all time, into the mind. It's essentially dissolving out your identity, and then you're left with the most ancient base psychology. So that's what I've done to myself, and that's what a lot of people have done to themselves through, really YouTube and weed and wine and yoga and stuff like that. So I'm just here to try to say, you seem like a cool guy to me, like you seem funny, you seem like a good entertainer, you seem like, you have a positive attitude, like you can go far with what you're doing. But the whole thing ultimately the whole thing is like, you're going to want to have a nice house, a nice car, a bank account, a portfolio, and become essentially, a leader, an online educationalist, because your opinion isn't gonna, your opinion can only be repeated so many times. You have to essentially gather up books of the highest value and get stoned, drink a little wine, and read those books on this app. And to me, that's how I've hacked my mind.
Even if the book only costs you 25 cents.
So Doctor, my co-producer here, I hacked his mind after his mother died. And Doc is a horrific alcoholic. He's a pothead, but he's also a Purple Heart veteran with PTSD and post-traumatic stress disorder from other traumatic, incidences in his life from abusive family members. And, he's living his best life now. That's what everybody is trying to do, is optimize their lives for the best life now.
I'll agree to all those statements.
Yo, therapist, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I guess that little speech from you helped bring a nigga back down to earth. Cause you right, bro. You absolutely right. When you on this app, you should be empowering yourself. I was saying to one of my friends the other day, like, human beings are responsible for everything we see around us, right? But yet, another human being would kill you for the very same thing that couldn't exist without you. So it's one of those situations where the ultimate investment, yes, is an investment in the mind. And like you said, you referred to a they. I agree with you. The they, that infamous they, do want you to be stupid, all right? And some of these enemies we can identify, like them dog-eating, cat-eating motherfuckers in China. them niggas, you know, they got the TikTok app over in the US running a certain type of way because they want addicts. All right, they want a dumb American public. And so, you know, with that being said, you gotta kind of decide where you gonna fit into this equation. And I've made a decision, all right, but I guess that I have learned to love weakness. Okay, so as a result, there are certain habits and practices that I'm trying to wean myself from, but they still there. And I'm gonna land on this, all right? Somebody gave me a beautiful example or said a beautiful quote to me that I want to share with you. This dude said, yo, say you 30 years old, right? And you've been a nigga for 20 years, all right? But you learn to be a black man for 10, okay? At the end of the day, you've been a nigga for more than half your life. So, you know, whilst you practice being a black man, and that's, you know, what you're striving or aspiring to become and carry yourself as, you have engaged in niggeristic behavior for so long that when people make you emotional, at times you can revert to your autopilot. Feel me? So right now, I'm just trying to eliminate the autopilot and work on my software and reprogram myself so that I'm not in love with niggeristic activity. But whilst I strive to not be in love with niggeristic activity, I'm still, you know, human. So I fall short. But we striving.
Well,
That's
Clubhouse is a great safe space to do all this. And that's why I say I live in a bunker, because like this is a safe space. I mean, yeah, people could show up at my house and fuck with me. But and maybe they have. But my whole point is that you are Neo in a Matrix, just like that movie, and there are secret key activators to essentially break you free from the Matrix. Just like how Keanu Reeves got unhooked from that giant network of energy suction. He disconnected and then jumped into the Nebuchadnezzar, and guess who's there? Guess who saved him?
Who saved him?
I mean, it was Morpheus, but I'm trying to think of Lawrence Fishburne. It was a black man, and Lawrence Fishburne is as African American black, you know, and as awesome as you can fucking get, just like Samuel L. Jackson. See, this is the thing in America. The pantheon of African American actors and musicians, they dominate the star spectrum. Oprah, Beyonce, and 100 others. And, you know, the best music in the world that has ever been made has been made by black African Americans. So,
yeah, but that shit don't mean nothing, bro. And it's because, you know, black folks, quote unquote, entertaining white folks or excelling at entertaining white folks, I don't think that should be a point of pride for any member of the race. All right? We need to go from those who entertain folks to the ones being entertained. All right? The owners of the football teams, the owners of the basketball team, we've been entertaining folks for too fucking long. My bad. Yes, sir.
What I'm asking you, do you think that, you know, given that was the only avenue for a specific, you know, group of people at the time to be able to, like, get their come up, and then they could, like, spread that around within their own community, and, like, you know, and then, like, that became the idealism of commerce? Like, do you think that, you know, we should have never allowed, you know, black people to become entertainers?
No, he's not saying that.
Absolutely.
Anyways, listen.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that.
Listen, I know, because Doc, I don't know if you can hear him that well, but if you want to jump into Peace Now Meditation, Wisdom Psyche, it's in Preservation Nation. It's under a therapist, if you can hear him better. But the whole point, I'm going to play this clip because I want to bring us full circle real quick. The quote is, it is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. This is Peter De Vries, the actor.
Impatient for Lito's reply.
It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of sapu that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Okay, I'm gonna play it one more time. Here we go.
It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Okay, so it is by will alone I set my mind in motion. If we are living in a simulation, it is a thought universe. That's the way it's described, is that nothing really exists except for thoughts. That's the real, that's what's really, that's the real, that's the new. That's what's actually, that's the creation. That's the whole manifestation of the Godhead, is in thoughts. So he says, it is by will alone I set my mind in motion. So what is will? Will is energy. How do you create gravity? And that's kind of the syndrome that happens on Clubhouse and in influencer psychology, in Instagram, etc. But let me finish the quote. Again, you have to see this movie Dune, and then you can essentially understand all of the world's religions and psychologies, and he makes it into the movie Dune.
It is by the juice of sapu that thoughts.
The juice of safu is the red wine. And every Friday night, drink a nice glass of red wine, read a great book. I mean, if you can abstain for 6 days, try it at least once in your life. Have the willpower to abstain alcohol for 6 days. And then on a Friday night, take a big shot of red wine and read some kind of holy book or sacred book and transform your psychology. That's the whole tradition.
Acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of sapu that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will.
Again, thoughts acquire speed. So, I drink wine on here, I smoke weed. If I didn't, my thoughts would not be as fast. They would not be as fluid or smooth or quick or as of high value. I'd probably be pretty boring if I wasn't drinking red wine on here. And that's why in this quote, he says, the juice of safu gives...
Like you said, I'm a raging alcoholic.
Yeah, Doc drinks 30 beers a day. I mean, that's disgusting.
Alone I set my mind in motion.
It's more like 15 these days.
Okay,
Back in the
15 beers a day. That's still disgusting. That's brutal. I mean, do you even use baby wipes?
Mentat Fighter DeVries. Message for Mentat Fighter DeVries.
You don't have
The Baron
to.
is impatient for Leto's reply.
It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of sapu that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Okay, so I think we fully covered that. Ish has left the show, but the last thing I wanted to say to him was
It's the boiling.
I wanted to say that is that you can't discount Machiavellian psychology and you can't discount will to power. They're intertwined. So,
Well, Machiavelli, wasn't that the guy that tried to fake his own death a whole bunch of times?
No, I mean, the prince. The fact that if Israel is willing to be so savage as to uproot a whole, millions of people, and then, because based on the psychology and the programming of the people, it's just going to be really interesting to see how all of this plays out, because
Oh, dude, it's about to be destructive. I really don't want to. I'm really afraid about what's about to happen.
Michelle says that she thinks the David Lynch movie sucks. I think that movie is incredible. I can't believe you think it sucks. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. It's got the best actors ever. I mean, it's got the most amazing cast ever. You can't look. It's a. Yo, what's Ish is back. Hold on, Ish. Michelle, go ahead. What, Michelle?
It's alright, but it was disturbing and weird. The David Lynch one, it had good actor, a few, but it was kind of weird and long, and I read the whole series of the books first, so compared to that, it was not as great.
Okay. So Ish, there was 2 more things I wanted to tell you before you left. Was you can't discount will to power, which is Nietzsche's whole premise, and then the other thing essentially is Machiavellian psychology. So I mean, that's why I say you have to be the master of your mind by essentially putting as much information into it as possible of the highest value. And it's a process of dissolving your identity and then regrouping and essentially coming up on top with money, with great housing, with great clothing, with security, with love, with compassion, with kindness, with friendship, with justice, with strength, with beauty, with the kingdom. I mean, that's the whole thing, is that if there is such a thing as reincarnation, you're gonna get more chances at this. But the whole thing is, you can accomplish it all in this lifetime if you actually have the right programming. So, I mean, it's called the great work. And I hope you become the next Oprah. I don't know. That's my whole thing, is I want to be the next Oprah.
It doesn't even matter if I have a small penis or not.
I don't want to be a wicked Oprah. I want to be the white Oprah.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, therapist. When I hear you speak sometimes, I be like, yo, this dude is so slick. I don't even know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm just a brain, bro. You're talking to a brain. I am talking to a brain. Everything else is totally, doesn't matter. I mean, it is pink to pink, and I am transparent, and I practice the art of clarity, and I say what I feel what I say, and that's just my truth. And that's how that's how I thrive. That's how everyone who makes it thrives.
Oh, I guess for inspirational purposes.
I got a big sword.
Not that you need inspiration, but you should look into it, dude, bro. I don't know him enough to even say appropriately that you remind me of him.
Of who?
But there's a dude. Pardon me. There's a dude by the name of Louis Jolyon West, right? This dude, bro, like his scandals are the stuff of science fiction, but they're all real. This is a guy who was implicated in the JFK assassination, but he is someone who promotes precisely what you're promoting: hypnotism, studying the mind, and just really understanding this instrument that we got sitting in between our ears. And he's just a dope individual to look into. He might motivate you to go even further with wherever you're headed, with the direction that you're in.
Okay, listen. Let me just finish it. Let me finish with this for you, Ish. If there's any high value information that I can transmit to you right now that is going to be the greatest value for you in your life and the rest of your lifetime, how old are you?
I'm in my 20s.
Really? Well,
was that shocking in a good way or a bad way?
I thought you were like in your 40s. Anyways, that's a good thing. So my point is that you have an incredible free opportunity in front of you that no one can no one can give you, and no one can sell it, and you cannot obtain it from anyone else. And that's essentially the books that are out there. Every single book is somebody's lifetime work sitting in a warehouse in your local community right now, that you can essentially put into your mind, and it'll be revolutionary for you personally. And it's just your local library. I mean, I have 5 books sitting on my lap right now that I know that if I were able to actually put this information into my mind, it would change my life even more. So everybody on this app is a hypnotist. All communication is hypnosis, and there's a lot of free gold sitting in a library for you right now. Get books and start using books, and start using books to use other people, and just dissolve yourself and let books make you rich, make you powerful, make you famous, make you happy, make you joyful. Books are the secret. Backwards it's Koob, Koob. It's a cube. The cube, the black cube, the black stone. It's a book, and there's millions of them out there. How many can you put into your mind? Actually, I mean, you can put millions of books into your mind. That's why Neuralink could be the most, revolutionary technology ever created, because you can make superhuman computer men, which are mentats, which is what we just played, which is by will alone I set my mind in motion. If Elon Musk and those developers can actually hack the human mind and rev up your IQ to an incredible level, it's like that movie Limitless where he has that pill.
Sign me up.
So you can't become rich overnight, even if you become a genius. But the whole thing is creating the genius effect within you. And that means liberating yourself. That's liberation theology. All of these political rooms deal with liberation theology. But the whole thing is, if you can actually accomplish liberation theology for yourself personally, you will become the next Oprah over a given length of time. It just takes time. But you want to be kind and you want to be good. If you can't be good and you go the left-handed route of bad and evil, you're going to destroy yourself. And Doc and I are military veterans, and I can tell you this, that I know a lot of people that have died after the war from veterans that have killed them because for whatever fucked up reason, like Chris Kyle, the #1 sniper, or Pat Tillman, the Cardinals quarterback, his own men iced him. So maintain your distance. Keep your security.
It was actually his brother.
So my point is that that everyone in this room listening to me right now, and myself included, will disappear very quickly. I mean, we are just mere farts in the wind, specks in the dust. And this is a gaslighting app. The whole app is nothing but a gaslighting app, and the whole app is nothing but a social audio hypnosis app. And I believe that it's funded by the CIA. It's a research project for free telephone, just like the World War II Enigma machine that the Germans created. This is advanced high society technology funded by Washington, D.C., the CIA, and NQTEL. And I'm using it to hack my mind, and I encourage you to try to hack your mind too. That's the whole purpose of this app. If you don't do that, the app is using you, and you're being hypnotized.
Edmund, like seriously, like when you talk about like the Enigma machine, you know the guy that broke it was a gay British guy. He was a brilliant scientist.
Yeah, Turning or whatever his name was, Alan Turning or something.
And they ended up giving him a chemical lobotomy or chemical castration and a mental lobotomy, punched holes in his forehead, and gave him a frontal lobotomy because he was gay. Like, you know how disgusting that is? I mean, and that was the guy that literally, like, solved. He ended the World War II by, in Germany by like a couple of years because he figured out their intel. But they ended up, fucking him, dude.
Oh, I know. See, the thing is, you can get steamrolled if you go to a psychiatrist. And the thing is, whatever that guy's decimation was, it's probably tragic, but he was also, he was a scientist, a mathematician. He wasn't a warrior, So unfortunately, that guy got steamrolled, He got fucking killed.
Dude, he saved millions of lives.
Yeah, I mean, they hacked the German communication system. It's incredible.
But I get a lot of like the whole LGBTQ plus, even though they don't even like my gay friends don't like my lesbian friends. My lesbian friends don't like my transvestite friends. Like they're not all on the same page. So
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, if we're monkeys and there's sexual preference, cliques, or there's sexual preference castes, or I don't know, like, you could break down categories into any fucking category, man. I mean, there's so many ways to classify, but what's your point?
my point is that regardless of who my friends are, like I have my own perspective and like how I see the world, and it's based on how modified I am, how much my family served in the military,
No way, bro. I just flew over this whole country. It is so vast and is so diversified and so incredibly rich. I mean, just incredible. I can't believe how much agriculture there is out there. It's like, how many people work that much? How do they even drive through all that and work it all and harvest it all? It's so expansive. That breadbasket is like, holy fucking shit. I mean, talk about a source of power. The food production in this country is incredible. I mean, talk about winning a war. Holy fuck. They can't, nobody can invade this country. Nobody can stop the food production. This country is an empire.
I know we can produce enough food in this country to feed the world 3 times per year.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's,
From this country alone.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, where'd you get that figure?
I got 50 acres of peanuts behind my house, and it was cotton the time before that. It was corn before the time of that. You know, you got to rotate the crop so you don't burn the soil.
Well, anyways, I know the Census Bureau publishes so much data. I get these emails from the Census Bureau because I used to work there, and the research that these economists and data, analysts do. I mean, that's why I say this country is so advanced and so far ahead of most of the rest of the world because we spend so much fucking money that we don't even have. It's the biggest scam ever. And that's why Scam Movie is going to be the biggest movie ever made, because essentially I'm documenting the scam. And many years from now, when the movie comes out, we'll be able to declare, hey, everybody, look at us. We were the first ones to call it all a scam. Ha ha ha, here's our movie. But this is like the greatest con ever run. And the fact that the world even puts up with it is remarkable. And the fact that, I mean, essentially millions of more people are going to flood into this country because when it's all a scam and anybody can show up at the border and get driven to any fucking city they want, it's just a scam.
Well, I mean, I hope you refresh your PCR and look at my picture. That's my backyard. That's an RV, and that's the fertilizer going to spray the peanuts in order to give nitrates.
What kind of peanuts are they?
This on the good kind.
What are they? Like just the normal what do you call it kind?
Yeah, what do you call it kind? I don't know the name of the damn fucking genius of it. I mean, Jesus, you don't make me fucking think about the genius of the fucking pea. But man, I got pecan trees in my fucking yard, and I don't even know the genius of them motherfuckers either. But I mean, that's the fertilizer truck going in the backyard, and then that's my RV, and that's my backyard.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, eventually somebody named Miguel is going to end up living there and owning and running the whole thing, but what's your point?
No, his name is Manuel.
Replacement theory is not just a theory, it's a fact.
Actually, the funny thing is, because of my Native American history, this is actually land that belonged to my family from 1780.
Yeah, there's Americans here that go back to the very beginning. I mean,
and I bought the land that my family lost in 1780. And I bought it from a family that owed it from 1907. Problem is they didn't pay their taxes from 2005. When I got their taxes in 2020, I gave them 6 months to get the fuck off the land, unless they pay me 30% interest, and they couldn't afford it, so I ended up with the land. Why do you think I ended up with this property for $8,800 in closing? I'm a dickbag.
Well, anyways, I think I'm the only individual in the world who's more excited about books today than ever before.
What kind of books do you like?
I think psychology books do it for me. They're the ones that are always the most, shocking to the mind.
I'll look around. I mean, I go to the thrift store every Thursday because the thrift store on Thursdays will sell you a book for a quarter, and like they get a lot of books, and I'll look around. I'll
My
see what I can
sister,
find
my
on
sister
Thursday.
got a John Steinbeck book at this garage sale today for $1, and it was worth $50 to $200.
Yeah.
Rare Books
Well, I
is a
mean,
cool. I mean, I own a company called Rare Book Business. It's doing, a couple 100,000 a year in income. It's doing great.
well, where do you think Amazon started from?
From Jeff Bezos's bookstore.
Thank you.
I thought to myself, when I heard of this .com, I said, why don't I sell my books at my online bookstore? So I created Amazon.com, and it's all history since then. Now I'm married to a beautiful Mexican machismo woman who's 5'4", has got a great ass for great tits. My life is fabulous. My name is Jeff Bezos. Thanks for listening.
And I also take a bunch of steroids. That's my
Yeah, my sister used to work for him.
Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine working for something like that. But but the point is like, the wisdom is wisdom, regardless of who's doing it. And like, dude, if I can buy a book for a quarter, and like if I buy like $3 worth of book, that means that's fucking like 12 books. And I can send you a box with like wholesale for $10, like everything I can fit in this box. You get all these books, and dude, so I spent like $3 for the book and $10 for the box, and like flat shipped it to you. It cost me like $12, $13, something like that. It's a dumb number. But if I find a psychology book for you, bro, I mean, like you want like abnormal psychology, developmental psychology, nature nurture.
No, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know. I think
you
rare.
you want Pavlov's dog.
No, no,
You
no.
want like
I think, let me
like
tell you
oral
what.
anal fat latency, Erickson's 10. Like, what do you want?
I think, honestly, a valuable book is generally one of the most interesting books. There's something interesting about a valuable book. I'm talking about a book that goes for a lot of money. Like, why does it go for a lot of money? What makes it rare? What's in it that makes it so valuable? There is something tied to rare books and the information that is in the book. But most of all the rare books that are, highly valuable, people have essentially typed them back up and republished them and sell them as, affordable paperbacks. So, Alan Watts even says that all the world's information, everything that has ever been thought up and published is already out there. It's like we're already living in the most incredible age of information that there's ever been. So the books are out there, the information is out there. I mean, and it's been out there for 50 years now, and things aren't going to get any cooler. Like, it's already as cool as it can get. America has already peaked coolness, like the 60s and the 80s, and the 90s. Nothing can get any cooler than those 30 years. So I'm just saying that, like, Doc, you as a co-producer have an incredible opportunity to end up in the Hollywood Hills and, making a couple $1 million from Netflix off of this scam movie deal that we have going with our Netflix acquisition account executives.
Well, I mean, I'll take all that money and I'll just stay in Georgia. Is that okay?
Yeah, but, I mean, what are you going to do with your summer house in Malibu? You're gonna rent it to me for half the price.
I'm not paying no Hollywood taxes.
Anyways,
Bro, it's your boy Lane Link. I'm the master of my universe. No, 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 no. Don't charge me.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, if our words actually do create reality, I mean, I'm not trying to lie intentionally, but I am trying to, manifest through ideation. And I think there's, good things for that because I am trying to put information into my memory and my subconscious. So it's a lot of fun for me to do this.
Well, why do you think I enjoy talking to you? Because I do the same thing for myself.
You're a clone of myself at this point. That's the whole thing is if you really want to be a successful businessman and you want to like actually educate your employees, you have to clone yourself. And that's what transparency and clarity does is you allow other people to absorb your personality. And I have many friends that have been totally, awesome and have treated me like a king. And, their psychology is in me, and these are awesome people, very successful, millionaires.
Do you think I would be able to race your sailboat better than you can?
Well, that's the thing is if you show me how to do it after a while, I'll probably get better than you, but maybe not.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, I'm pretty lazy.
But I guarantee you, if I showed up in Chicago tomorrow, bro, you'd be like,
I mean, I showed a good friend of mine how to play racquetball, and it only took him a couple days to start beating me. His brain, his body was better than mine.
Well, I mean, fuck that. I want to play handball.
Yeah, fuck your hands up, and then you can't even type on a computer for days.
You got carpal tunnel.
Yeah, man, I've played handball. I'm not playing that shit ever again. Fuck that shit. I've played it plenty of times. I'm good on handball.
I love handball.
That's like, yeah, my uncle loves it. My uncle loves handball. People love handball. I don't know why people like it so much. Fuck that shit.
Well, I mean, que sera.
No, but I mean, I've fucked my hands up enough where I'm like, I mean, I don't care how much you think you can finesse handball. Your hand is fucked up if you play handball long enough. Fuck that game.
Do you know how thick my hands are? I broke my wrist in 12 places on my right hand. Like, I've got a boxer's fracture, broke my wrist in 12 places. Like, you know how hard I've thrown my hand at people? Bro. And you think I won't continue to do that? Shit. Got me fucked up. Dude, I'll grab you by the leg and roll you and like break the tibia and fibula and laugh at you. You look like a one-legged duck swimming around the pond. Shit. People think everything's a boxing match or like an MMA fight. I'm like, some people know how to fuck you up.
Yeah, man, I'm not a good fighter. I mean, and I ain't taking no risks anymore.
Dude,
I know you've been in a lot of fights.
I've had my nose broken 3 times.
That's fucking brutal, bro. I mean, as far as I know, I never had my nose broken, but I did get slammed by this young black kid after he started picking through my bag, and they robbed me good. Fuckers beat my ass.
Why'd you get me in the face? Because you robbed me, motherfucker.
They fucked me up good, man. It took me months to fucking recover.
I feel you, bro.
Months. I mean, months to feel even relatively normal again. Like, they could have fucked my brain up. I mean, I gotta say, like, I think you can heal your brain through reading books and exercise and diet, but like, that was a tough couple months after that. I was pretty fucked up. I mean, I guess I wasn't that fucked up, but I was in a master's program for an MBA at a university at DePaul. I went to my first day in class with blood on my fucking hat and a black nose. I mean, black eyes.
You want to know what really fucked me up, God? Was like in 2005. I was 30 or 29. I don't think I was 30 years old yet. I think I was 29. I was working at Halifax Memorial in Daytona Beach, the 8-story tall hospital in Daytona, and I have a patient that had the same fucking birthday, and this kid, I was 29, and he had been, when he was like 14 or 15, he got in a fight at school, and they pistol whipped him. And they pistol whipped him so hard, he went into mental retardation. And then, from his teenage years through his 20s, the only time he could ever get sex was from a prostitute. And then he ended up getting HIV from one of these prostitutes. No shit, I'm not capping, bro. This is a real fucking story. And like, he ended up catching HIV, and I was 29 when he died. When I was 29, like I was cleaning up his diarrhea poop, trying to change him and move him, and soap noted subjective, objective, assessment planning. If you don't document those in your native language, you don't know that it didn't happen, bro. Dude, it was crazy, bro. And why do you think I fucking joined the army? I got so tired of working in the hospitals with these kind of people. I guess that makes me a douchebag, huh?
I don't know. If you say so. I mean, I followed your story, but I don't know why you think that makes you a douchebag.
Because I feel indifferent towards, certain groups of people.
I mean, I feel indifferent towards different groups of people because I don't feel indifferent towards anything, generally speaking. I mean, I'm just more concerned about, movement and survival and, joy and maintaining an equilibrium of happiness.
Thoughts become stains become a warning,
It is by will alone that we set our mind in motion. It is by the juice of Safu that thoughts acquire speed, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone we set our mind in motion. Raboino Shalolim.
Yeah, master of my universe.
Intuition. That's my greatest strength.
Dumbassery.
I mean, that's basically the source of my intuition, is being a fool, and then figuring and going up from there. I mean, that's the first card of the tarot deck. That's why it's the first card. It's the initiate. Everybody who comes into a lodge of understanding or a university is an initiate. So I've gone through enough processes. I mean, my education at the Citadel was expansive, and technically everybody who graduates there is a Freemason. Everybody who graduates there is like, they lived in a monastery for 4 years and took shit at the highest level and mixed with generals and colonels and majors and captains and master sergeants. I mean, it's a really incredible school. I mean, you work and you study under generals and I mean, it's just a great school. It's a great place to be for 4 years. It's a hell of a place. So I have that inside of my psychology. And it definitely is kind of like the prima causa for me because that's, everybody who goes to college, that's like their base educational programmatic experience, socially, academically. So I don't know. I mean,
My thing is I did like 608 dismounted missions for over 2,000 miles of months. I mean,
that's an experience.
have you ever walked 3,000 miles in 11 months?
I did a 20-mile road march at Benning, and I thought I was gonna die. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what you went through. I mean, you should seriously take the time to do interviews and bring out a lot of the experiences from your memory, and document it and publish it because your experiences can be invaluable to America. I mean, first off and foremost, but I mean, even your military intelligence and experiential, recounting. Like you could write your own field manual about that conflict and all your activities. So, I mean, I really suggest you take the time to do that because that probably is the most high value information you can transmit, without opening a book. Don't discount your experience.
My problem is, like, I have plenty of friends from Iran, Kurdistan, and Iraq, and, Kuwait.
I don't know. I would just say don't discount your experience. I think it has incredible potential and value to the nation, to yourself. I mean, the macro, micro. Like you live through, and you have real information. That can should be published. Your memory should be published. Is what I'm saying. If you discount it, I mean, it's totally your choice. I mean, I'm not gonna do it for you, but I think you should do it. You should have a YouTube. You should have a YouTube.
My friends that are like Sunni and Shia, and I can bring them on, from Iraq and Kurdistan.
Yeah, I would do it. I would create a podcast just like that guy Ari, the accidental gangster. But you should like make your podcast first about you, and then fully exhaust your entire experience, and then move on to other veterans. So this is a project that I did want to do years ago. I wanted to call the title of my movie is called DD-214. And basically it's interviews with veterans, and it's just short synopses of their experience. But the movie's called DD-214.
Do you want to see my DD-214?
Well, you would be like a 3-minute segment of the movie if we did, a composite of 50 DD-214s. But the name of the movie...
Like I said, I mean, I have a full heart. I have, heroism under fire awards for valor. I mean, like, I've been there and done that, got an old motherfucking t-shirt, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just one person. I am one person. Imagine if we interviewed 100 people. It's an incredible opportunity to frame the situation where people really understand what's happening.
And yet I'd still be the smallest dick in the room.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would be. I'm just trying to make the movie. I don't care about the size of my schmeckle. I just want to make the money and go from there. I mean, I'm gonna make money as a publisher.
I'm just glad I don't have schmegma.
Yeah, dude, that shit's disgusting. I mean, we could make another movie. I want to actually do a movie called The Glory Hole.
I got circumcised at 31.
You did?
No shit. I was never circumcised until I was 31.
Jesus Christ. How did that go down? Do you have to go to a hospital for that?
Exactly. Yeah, I went to what was that? Over near Kaiserslautern. There's a hospital over
You're so crazy. I can't believe you did that.
Bro, dude, they cut it off. And you know what the chick said? That was the nurse's no. And she's like, it looks like beef jerky.
She said that?
Yeah.
Ugh, that's so disgusting, bro.
Bro, but
You know, there are some things that
I was having a hard time with field sanitation.
Listen, you know, the great thing about having the power of the mind is to not record and not memorize things that you've heard from people, and that is one of those things that I'm gonna categorize as something that I do not need to remember.
It looks like beef jerky.
That is so disgusting, but I'm sure it's gonna make a great highlight on YouTube Reels for the podcast.
Oh man, hey, make money off it. I don't give a fuck.
Fuck it. Do whatever you want.
2 tears in a bucket, fuck it. How you like what I do when you make your fucking mama suck it? Oh, I made your mama suck it. Suck it on PP. What you want to say? Side thing as a wee wee. Oh, when I wee wee up in her fucking face. Yeah, I put a fucking bone up in her fucking throat. You know what I mean? I smoke too much weed, I think I'm a hip hop artist.
Okay, thank you for being here. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a few days since I have filmed for Scam Movie and the podcast. Don't forget to check all the calls coming in and out of the clubhouse, and whoever sets up that meeting with Bozzini, he's the traitor.
Hey, if I this Thursday, I mean it's Sunday right now, but I mean like in like 3 or 4 days when I go to the thrift store, if I find something, bro, I'll hit you in the back channel. I'll get your address. I'll send you a box.
Bro, I have so many books, I don't need any more. What you need to do is find a great...
It's like I don't need any more books. You don't need no more books.
Oh, look, Chris. Okay, so these are some of the rooms going on in Clubhouse right now. You're in the Torah study. And then we got, should black people only marry dat will give them their money in the Black House. We have Evening Show with Brescia and Zadie Zam. We have the Complete Stoicism Collection, a reading by Chris and Heron. We have Stephanie Petty Manelli, White Belts, 2 Atheists in a Cup. We have Israel, Palestine, The Real Convo.
Dude, white belts are us?
White Belts, 2 Atheists in a Cup, and White Belts Are Us.
Oh, I mean, I like white belts are us. I mean, have you ever been in a room with me with a group called Friendship in English?
Yeah, I have been. I remember that. That was funny. You have a following in there or something?
A little bit. I mean, I know everybody in the room.
Okay, these are more rooms. Melodies to meditate, relax, and or heal. What's next? Palestine, Israel. In Philosophical Minds, we have Somali Philosophy Open Mic. Peace of Mind, Speaking Now. Any of these sound interesting?
I mean, Friendship in English or English speaking rooms?
Okay, I'm gonna jump into Philosophical Minds. What's next? If you want to jump into Preservation Nation, join us in Peace Down, Meditation, Wisdom, and Psyche. This concludes Scam Movie. It's now 10:15:23. Riboinoi Shalom.
And have self-determination, is through the liberation of Palestine. And that's the goal that the Palestinians are trying to achieve. And that's what's happening right now as we speak, right? This is the attempt at the liberation of Palestine, and it's important that we keep focusing on that. All the other stuff that happens after that, the political disputes, elections, how the country is going to be ran, etc., etc., these are domestic Palestinian issues, right? The Palestinians are going to elect who they want to represent them once Palestine is free. and then everything will fall into place. Everything will have, everything will, whatever's going to happen after that. That's what's going to happen. Until then, like, normally, until then, it's not really anyone's concern which Palestinian political party is quote-unquote better. We already have a corrupt Palestinian Authority that gets their paychecks from the Israelis. We already, Hamas is not a perfect political party in terms, like Adam was saying, in terms of like running an area or a country, well, because they're not good in terms of as a governing body. But everything else, like when it comes to resistance, the armed military wing, this is who we are.
Yeah, and look, the reason why the Palestinian people are pro-Hamas is precisely because they have the same goal. Hamas wants to liberate the Palestinian people, right? This is what the Palestinians believe. And so, it's evident that the Palestinians don't believe that Hamas is some kind of like secret, pawn of Israel that nobody knows about. That's not a narrative that's circulating in Palestine.
I guess one of the questions I have, and something maybe I'm missing in the greater geopolitical context, is how is Palestine going to ascertain independence, given that many of the foremost geopolitical actors are condemning Hamas and in outward support of Israel? Now I know there is a large public sentiment in favor of a Palestinian nation. I'm just not seeing this playing out on a geopolitical aspect, and so I'm curious if any of you have insights in terms of where you think this is going to go, like who may be stepping in, who may be supporting that in terms of not just public sentiment, but actual enforcement.
In terms of like Palestinian liberation, Baba Junso, you're back. Did you want to say something before I?
Yeah. So I'm a member of the Ahmadi Religion of Peace and Life. You may have heard of us from TikTok, but our Imam has given a solution, or what he believes is the most rational solution to the conflict.
Okay, he's gone. So anyway, as I was saying, I don't know what he's talking about. Our Imam Muhammad and Hassan. Anyway, in terms of ascertaining. Well, I was going to say, Palestinians, listen, in order to attain liberation, first we have to define what we mean by liberation, right? Palestinian liberation, what does it mean? Well, it's already in the name, right? To liberate Palestine. Historic Palestine, from the River Jordan to the Mediterranean Sea. Historic Palestine that belongs to the Palestinian people. They want this strip of land to be liberated from the Israeli Zionist regime. They don't want them to be the ruling governing party and power there anymore, because it's a settler colonialist power that was forcefully put there against the will of the Palestinian people who are from there, right? And in terms of liberating that, there have been numerous attempts to try to fix the situation. There have been armed struggles historically against them. There have been political talks between the two parties, the Palestinian representatives and the Zionist Israeli representatives. And there's been a number of attempts to try to fix the situation. There's been talks of one state or two state or any binational state. All these different offers that were put on the table. But over time, we've just come to realize that all of this stuff is number one, is a distraction from what the Palestinian people really want, and number two, that they don't work. Even if the Palestinians had different aspirations, it wouldn't work, right? So what we come to realize is that there is no sort of talking or discussing with these with the Israeli politicians, with people who adhere to the Zionist ideology, because the ideology itself is a racist ideology which seeks to take all of Palestine for itself and to have the Palestinian or the Arab be treated as a third-class citizen at best in their own native homeland.
Right. So I understand. I definitely understand that, and the seeking for sovereignty. My question is, given the current situation and the fact that there is not a lot of support from the major geopolitical players, countries, I don't even like the word players, countries, how do you see this moving forward in terms of Palestinian sovereignty? Do you think that's just going to be an internal movement, or do you think there is going to need to be external support as well? And if there needs to be external support, who is that going to come from?
Who do you think are the relevant players here? Let's stick with players.
Before we get to that, we can go into the external powers. But I just wanted to I was going to say in terms of Palestinian liberation, like in terms of actually achieving it, we believe that we need to ascertain and achieve our liberation by any means necessary. So if that includes armed resistance, we're going to fight for our country, because we have to fight for what is originally ours, right? Because it was forcefully taken from us, and they're still occupying the land until now. So for us, it only seems logical that they're not going to go away. Plus, on top of it, the land does not belong to them. On top of that, international law gives us the right to resist and fight back our occupation, and international law tells us that we have the right of return, meaning to go back to the original houses and land that we do originally come from, and that it should be given back to us with compensation, right? And it's still the state of Israel and international law just have not implemented that yet, right? So the fact that Israel's not doing that, we just say, "Khalas, okay, enough is enough." So we're gonna partake in armed resistance, which is what Hamas and the Palestinians are doing right now, and we're gonna attempt to take back Palestine, right? So that's the view of the Palestinian people, and I think it's been like that for a long time. This is the Palestinians usually have wanted, but for many years they could have been extremely vocal about it because they needed to be politically correct or be diplomatic when it comes to explaining the Palestinian cause on the international stage or in Western countries in order to gain support. It just seemed like they're not radical, but I think it's become more clear over the last number of years, and especially within the last number of weeks that this is the only route realistically, whether we like it or not, that how Palestine is going to be liberated, right? But in terms of the foreign powers and at play and external powers, something to understand is all these how Hamas is even able to conduct this operation to begin with, right? Because they're in Gaza, they don't have a lot of tools that they can use to even fight back, right? So all the guns and the rockets that they have, where does it come from? Who supports them? And obviously anybody who pays attention to geopolitics, when it comes to Palestinian support in terms of armed resistance, in terms of fighting, the number one country that supports them is the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Arab Republic of Syria. Those are the two major countries that support them, right? And there are also other powers that train them and fund them alongside them or under them, like Hezbollah, Lebanon, and those who transfer the weapons into Palestine through Iraq through the Popular Mobilization Forces, which is a bunch of armed resistance groups in Iraq that fought ISIS. These are the main powers that fund or back the resistance in Palestine, right? And these are the foreign powers which are that are most likely to get involved within the situation in Palestine right now. So if I don't know if you've been paying attention to the what's going on in Lebanon right now, but there's Hezbollah in South Lebanon. Their hand basically is on the trigger, right? Hezbollah, by the way, they get Hamas and Palestine. They are trained they're trained by Hezbollah. So they're funded by Iran in terms of like weapons and guns, but in terms of like training and fighting, they're trained by Hezbollah fighters. They go to South Lebanon or they go to Syria, and they train with them with the IRGC as well. So that's something to know. So their hand is basically on the trigger, right? Their hand is on the trigger. They're waiting for the moment where they are supposed to just enter the battle and help the Palestinians fight alongside them to basically liberate Palestine. Because Hezbollah as well and other nearby countries have problems and a bone to pick with Israel as well, not just the Palestinians. So I do see other foreign powers at play, Hezbollah particularly, compared to more so than like maybe Syria actually, because they occupy the Golan Heights. So if Hezbollah were to get involved, there's a high chance Syria would to get the Golan Heights back. I see. So yeah, I do see that happening, as well as possibly volunteers from Iran and from Iraq, which we've already seen so far, who are in Lebanon right now, and who've signed up to fight the state of Israel. So I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, I actually saw a tweet today that apparently 2 million Iranians are ready to fight in Gaza. So there are other nations out there that are ready. So, Assalamu alaikum,
Mr. A and Hamza.
Just talking.
I have Mr. A on always notify, so whenever he gets on stage, I rush into the room. Zen, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, bro.
Because you're Palestinian, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this Hamas killing? What's your take?
My take on what the news is saying about Hamas killing civilians.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when it comes from the Western, I guess you should say Western media, not true, whatever. I mean, a lot of it's not true, right? But it's been debunked many times, and we've proven that. And I don't get my media about the war from, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, and these sorts of media outlets, because they've been proven to be false every single time, the vast majority of the time. But even then, right? What's it called? In terms of Hamas and the entire war right now. I mean, look, now all of a sudden people are saying this about Hamas, saying that, oh, look what they're doing to innocent Israeli Jews. But, what's been happening what is allegedly happening to them has been happening to Palestinians on a higher scale, and a worse rate for the last 75 years, almost a century, right? But then once the Palestinians decide, okay, it's time to fight back, and it's time to, give them a taste of their own medicine, then all of a sudden, it's an issue, right? So all of a sudden, it's something that, they cannot tolerate. Apparently they got a taste of their own medicine, and they didn't like it. So,
bro, what are you saying? What are you saying? So you're saying these babies who are occupying Palestine, right? They're oppressors, and we should kill them?
I mean,
isn't it wrong what happened?
Who's killing babies?
But let's take it for the sake of argument that the news is telling the truth. It's not, but let's take it on the sake of argument. Then what do you say?
I say it's horrible.
You can't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't take that as if you admit that it's not the truth, you can't then premise it that that's going to be the truth.
No, but we both don't know if it's the truth. Unless you guys have some kind of information I don't. So let's take it.
I'll give you information, right? Watch this, yeah. So, nearly every British newspaper reported this week about Hamas fighters beheading babies, right? So I'm reading this. But days later, there is no evidence to support the claim, and the journalists and the politicians are running away from it. So the White House was forced to withdraw. I'm just reading something. The White House was forced to withdraw comments made by President Joe Biden on Wednesday. He claimed to have seen confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children in Israel. A spokesman told the Washington Post newspaper that Biden had not seen any such photos. They said he was basing his claims on the assertion made by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the news report. It's another lie used to launch their war and claim about beheaded babies and so on and so forth. So there was a new Turkish news agency, it's called Anadolu, was the first to report that the Israeli army would not confirm the claim. The military later told the other outlets that they would not confirm the reports because it's disrespectful for the dead. At least 2 other journalists later deleted tweets referencing these reports. Just today, the UK's front pages, I am horrified by the headlines claiming 40 babies beheaded by Hamas. So, it's apparently a bunch of lie and hocus pocus. It's similar to what happened with Russia and the Ukraine, and when they got that image of that lady saying, yes, she was, there was an airstrike by the Russians, and they found out that picture of the lady. It was regarding 2018 when there was a Geplen, and she was one of the survivors. So it's all nonsense apparently. It's all fake news. And this is what I'm reading right now. So there's no actual evidence. So if someone can bring evidence, then yes, we can go. There's actually evidence of certain hostages that were taken. And they came out and said that, they fed us, they gave us water. They were in our houses, they asked, they even asked, can we eat? Can we have this? Was it a fruit or an apple or a banana? But you don't see that from the Western media showing this. And these are Jewish people, Israeli individuals saying, look, they came, they had nothing to do with the men, women, or it was just in regards to the army or whatever.
Yeah, look, it wouldn't be the first time a false flag by this country or the countries that support it. I agree with all that. I've read what you're talking about. I agree. But a lot of people don't know that. And a lot of people assume or take what's being said is true, right? They believe... Do I have bad connection? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they believe what they're seeing on the media is true. And the people who are pro-Palestine are literally saying, oh, good, Israel deserves this. And I'm asking if it is true. If we take it for the sake of argument that it is true, is that what should happen? You kill innocent people?
No, it's not justifiable.
No, it's not justifiable to kill innocent people. No, of course not. But what I would say, that it's not justifiable to kill innocent people. But what I'm going to say is that the Palestinians have the right to defend themselves in armed resistance. Casualties of war happen. It's unfortunate. Innocent people are not supposed to be killed. Of course not.
Yeah, Suleiman or whatever, like, aren't you just telling us the obvious, though? I mean, do you really even have to state those things?
Can I finish, please? Anyway, as I was saying, like, the Palestinians have the right to armed resistance. This is the fundamental point. Before you get into, the nitty-gritty details and everything else in between, this is the fundamental point that I think most people have to understand.
Choice them more. Because it's not right medicine, Maha. It's not right quantity, Maha. It doesn't help with that. It just, for the time being, it numbs them, and then they go back. It's a cycle.
پخش کرد از ایشون که به کارگردانی دوستی بود که در BBC هم
But definitely that anti-Christmas. You may be sweaty and ready to take a bath, yeah, but first you have to have the full effect hot summer day armpit smell. That's different.
I can get 3 more likes now. Yes, ma'am.
They
I'm not doing that. I'm not even concerned to the other truth that may come.
So you see like Adobe Acrobat Classroom in a book, a way to get rid of old traces.
That's the first one. And then
just keep on scrolling down to the one that just says Adobe Acrobat DC. And
219 share, latest shares only. It's got a black and white image though, like a skull or something.
It just says it's the person who posted it. There's an F. That's his profile image is an F, and then right next to it is just share, and then Adobe Acrobat DC.
Okay, I see that. A red circle with an F in it?
Yes, so then click the Adobe Acrobat DC. Take you.
Okay, yeah, there it is there. Okay, and then I see the F, Firebird 80.
We had a recess, and Nathan asked you to restate your claim. Right? Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Do you remember that?
I don't, to be truthful, man. We talked for hours.
God damn, man. That's the point I'm trying to make. So when
let's just reset the whole room, man. Fuck it, man.
Reset the whole room. I'm serious.
Because Nathan is tugging at my cape since fucking 10 hours ago, my nigga. I've been on this motherfucker, been doing that shit. So I don't know.
10 hours, legitimately. During 10 hours.
Exactly. That's why I don't remember that shit. This shit is a blur at this point, bro.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think people are too excited.
Nah. I know what I'm talking about. I'm conscious and I'm very aware of what's happening now. I don't care about what happened in the past.
Yeah, but I think there's giant gaps going on here. And I'm fresh on it. So it's like, what the hell?
Because I don't remember exactly what you just asked me to restate means. I don't know. I'm just...
Yeah, Nathan asked me to restate the IQ thing. And we had like a big thing.
The IQ thing.
What's the point of this, Lord Trini? What's your point, man?
Yeah, get him, God. Tell him, God.
Yeah, anyway. Look, I don't believe in God, so God, if you...
It's a clubhouse profile, Lord Trini.
Appeal to the IQ and use that issue backing up Toxic about the gentrification, which is both of them kind of equally stupid, to be honest. Look at it's an accumulation of a lot of things, which is primarily the disparity, the wealth gap. That's the primary thing. And, when you have anytime, this is across the globe, anywhere, any place. Anytime you have poor people in close proximity to wealthy people, you're going to have crime.
Yeah, Dominic, you're from Richmond, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so there's Carlson, there's Parchester Village in Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you remember when all the Section 8 got moved to Fairfield?
No, I don't remember that, but go ahead.
Well, that happened in 2000. So everyone from Parchester and everyone from Carlson moved in together into a single place. So what do you think happened in Fairfield?
Just read that right there.
Yes, I can read it.
You go read it.
No, he has a white assistant. Please help Aaron. We know black men are illiterate. Please.
No, I can't. Okay, let me go ahead.
Only 10% of
Hold on.
no, you have a white assistant. Only 10% of black men read above an 8th grade level. So
I know the reading level.
That is the most racist thing I've ever heard, Negras. You need to take that back. That's a lie. Show your source of evidence, please. Otherwise, that's just an opinion-based statement. That's racist. Take it back.
Can y'all wait for a second? We have this white guy that's about to read. Go ahead.
Exactly. Thank you. Let me take.
Is that Rachel Dolezal, Aaron? Take that PTR down. That is racist.
Okay, let me go ahead and read this, seriously. Hold on. Okay. For those wondering why black people don't swim, is because pools were not desegregated until the 1960s. That means that parents and children of that time were never allowed to swim. It was illegal. Even before and after pools were desegregated, water was always used as a weapon to black people. Slaves drowned in the oceans. Emmett Till was even thrown in the river, so no black people were too thrilled to swim in lakes and oceans when pools were allowed.